power of Grayskull.
On the half shell, they're the heroes for. In this day and age, who could ask for more?
Hello, Bots and Books fans, this is Scorp1701, and tonight we are going to be taking a look at our second Turtle of Grayskull. Now, if you don't know, this is the awesome new line out right now, which is crossing over the Mattel Masters of the Universe with the Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, in our first video, we took a look at Leonardo, which is my main man, and we always have to do Leonardo, but today we have Donatello, the heroic turtle at arms. So, jumping into the packaging, you can see that it is in your standard blister card. Now, this is very similar to the Origins line that is out right now. You have He-Man up here, you have Leonardo 6+, Turtles of Grayskull, Donatello, heroic turtle at arms. You can see some explosions and the sewer pipes, and that is really cool. I love the packaging design. You have Donatello right here in the package. You have Masters of the Universe and Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Mattel down here at the bottom right. And coming around to the back of the blister card, up at the top you have the awesome Masters of the Universe and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo. You have a comic book inside, and then you have an awesome picture of Donatello fighting Beastman in front of Castle Grayskull, and that is very nice artwork. You do have a little bit of read-up of what in the world is going on here, and you can see the others in this line. We've already reviewed Leonardo. We're about to do Donatello, but you also have Man-at-Arms and He-Man. And this is cool. You have a bit of product shot of Donatello there in his shell. Got some credits for the box and Mattel. And that is pretty much it for the packaging. And I don't want to see Donatello in this packaging. I know you don't. So let's get him out and see what kind of machines he does in Eternia. And here we have Donatello out of the packaging, and out of the packaging he stands approximately 6 inches tall, and he comes with a little schematic that tells you how many parts that he can be broken into, and oh my, he comes with a kind of extended mace type weapon, sort of reminiscent to one Man-at-Arms uses. He comes with an awesome comic book that we took a look at last time, and we'll take a look again. But first off, before we take a look at anything else, I want to take a closer look at this Turtle at Arms himself. And coming real close in on Donatello's head sculpt, you can see the helmet is glued on. I do believe it's a single piece, but it's still glued to his head, so it cannot come off. But it is still a very nice helmet. You got a lot of cool details in there, very reminiscent of Man-at-Arms, and it is molded in the nice purple coloring. I like that. Coming around to the back, you see his bandana sticking out the back here, so that is pretty cool. Coming around to his face, purple bandana, nice pearlescent white eyes. I like that. Coming down to his mouth, let's zoom out just a little bit so we can get a better look at that mouth. You can see that it goes all the way across. You can see his gritting teeth. That is pretty nice. Coming down to the body of the turtle, let's zoom out some more so we can get his upper torso in the shot. Now, this green is a little bit of an olive green, and it's okay. You still got the orangish yellow for the front of the shell, and it's broken up in a lot of good places. Kind of gives him some abs. He has some nice silver for his belt and his gauntlets, or his bracers, whatever you want to call those, with some studs there and some studs there. And he comes down to some brown bushy shorts. That is good. Legs till you get down to the bottom, and then you got the half boots like we saw on Leonardo, bushy brown, and the purple for denoting which turtle it is. Coming around to the back of the turtle, you do have this creepy molded in shell that looks like it would be there because his original hard shell got ripped off, and this is kind of a soft looking shell. I don't know, it kind of creeps me out, but that's okay. You do have some product copyright written right there, and then basically coming back down, nothing that you wouldn't expect from on the rest of the figure. Zooming out on the bottom, you do get some peg holes if you want to stand him somewhere, and some more copyright on there. And that's pretty much what your Donatello is gonna look like. Yeah, it's okay, and I really wish maybe they could have done it with a removable helmet, but it's not what they gave us, so we'll have to live with it. And just for comparison, while we have them in this particular set, here comes the Leonardo, and you could tell that there is a big difference in the color of the plastics that they use for the body. So it kind of is a bummer that way too, because even if you wanted to change out parts like the arms or the feet, you really couldn't do it without messing up your color scheme. But if you're a kid, you probably don't care and it won't matter. Alright, moving on. And for articulation, starting at the head can go around 360 degrees. It can kind of look up, it can kind of look down, and you got a little wiggle waggle left and right and tiltage. So that is really cool. Coming to the shoulders, shoulders can come up from the body and then back down. They can go around 360 degrees. You do not have a bicep rotation, but you have a nice elbow bend. And it's so bulky, but it doesn't exactly reach 90 degrees. That's okay. The elbow bend is built into a forearm rotation, 360 degrees, and that will bring you down to your hands. The hands can go around 360 degrees, and they are hinged, so wherever you have the hinge, they can either go up or down, or they can go in and out. So that is pretty neat. Coming to the center of the body, you do not have an ab crunch of any sorts, but you do have 360 degrees of waist articulation, so that is pretty cool. Coming to the legs, legs can move up just a hair. Back, not so much because the butt gets in the way. Out to the side, you get a little bit more. A little bit of click of thigh articulation, not really much, but there is something there, just a hair. Coming down to the knee bend, it is hidden underneath this little flap, and that is cool, but you still don't get a 90 degrees or anything like that. It's just barely short of 90 degrees because the bulkiness of the leg, and that's okay. And that is built into a 360 degree rotation, probably what you would consider a lower leg rotation. And then coming down to the foot, you do have a 360 degree rotation there for a boot cut, and then your foot can hinge up a long way, down a long way, and it can rock around the world 360 degrees. So there you go. A lot of good rotation and articulation for Donatello. Alright, moving on. And for accessories, let's take a look at Donatello's armor. Now we'll armor him up as we go through, and we will start by giving him something for his turtly chest. And taking a look at Donatello's chest armor, it's really nice, very indicative of Man-at-Arms, because you do have this like mouth guard here, and it's done in that beautiful purple. You got a lot of cool detail in there. I like that. You have a little bit of fur coming out here to the sides, kind of cover the arms a little bit. Nice silver breakup here on the bottom. That is neat. Coming around to the back, it just has the little port and tab section that you would have to get it onto his chest and close it like this. And this is also a kind of a two-part thing, because with these two holes here, just like Leonardo, you can attach the shell, and that is pretty neat. You attach the shell like that, and that would be cool. And the shell is the exact same as Leonardo's, the battle shell here. It is brown. You got the black for the belt, and the weapons can slide down in there. And on the other side, you have a handhold, so he could use this as a shield if you see fit to do that. I never like doing that. This is gel. It goes on his back. That's just how I do things. Now, the best way I have found to get this armor on is to bring out the chest and take off the arms and detach it from the bottom of the body into the head, and this will just slide on top like this, come around from the bottom, and then you could snap it together on the back like such. And then you can attach the shell like we had mentioned before into these two holes here. Alright. Helps if I get it the right way. And now that we got the chest taken care of, let's take a look at these arms. And for arm armor, Donatello has 3 separate pieces, and they are interchangeable between whichever arm that you would like to have them on. First off, we have his shoulder armor, and it's really nicely done. It is basically purple. You got a shell motif there with some studs in there. A nice little design here at the bottom. Come around to the back. Nothing much there. You just see how it will slide onto either arm that you would like to have it on. So let's just slide it down here. I find it easier just to take the arms off so that you don't have to worry about fighting with the whole body to get it on. Zoom out just a little bit so you can see. So yeah, that looks really nice right there. You want to move it all the way up the arm. So there you go. So that is pretty neat. And second piece of armor he has is basically this single band armor, and it will just go between your bicep and your forearm, basically covering the elbow joint, and you can put that on any arm. Instructions and how it's normally put out in the box is that it's on the right arm. So because you got the other armor on the other stuff, so it just slides right onto there. So that is pretty neat. I like that a lot. And finally, you have this forearm armor, and it's just basically a purple piece, and it does look like you have some little silver canister there. Maybe that's a concussion grenade or something you could take off and throw at the enemy, and that is pretty cool. And like the other one, it just slides on. Well, you need to take the hand off first and then slide it up onto the forearm, and then put your hand back on to keep it locked into place. And that is going to be your armors for Donatello's arms. Not too bad, not too bad. Pretty cool. And finally, let's get some armor on these legs. Donatello's leg armor will attach to Donatello's legs right below the knee joint, and you can tell which side they are going. This is going to be your right side, and this is going to be your left side. The buckles are going to be on the outside of the figure, so if you get confused, there are some little indicators on the inside. You got a R1 and an L1 written in there, so you won't get confused. So we're taking a look at the armor. Is basically done with a neat little turtle shell up here for the kneecap, coming down to some layered panels there, and then coming down to the bottom right above the foot. That is cool. Coming around to the back, nothing that you really wouldn't expect there. Again, there is your indicator of which side of the leg it goes on, and here is your little strap, and it will come out like such, and there is only one little slot that it can go into, so you don't have to worry about over stretching it or anything like that. So to put these on, there are several ways you could do it. First off, you could basically bring the foot in, slide it on like such, and then just clamp the strap back on if you're so inclined to do it that way, and that is just as good as any way. So just get it on there, and there you got one on. And if you don't like that way, because you have to move the strap above the calf so it has somewhere to stay on. If you don't like to do it that way, you can just take the foot off. Let's zoom out because that's a little too close. Take the foot out and just slide this into the strap like that. Don't have to undo it, don't have to do anything. Get it positioned correctly, and then just snap the foot back on like such. So those are two different ways that you could do the leg armors, depending on your sensibilities and how you like to do things. Alright, let's see Donatello all armored up now. And here we have Donatello all armored up, and he looks good. He looks like he's ready for some combat or some plays on the gridiron, because he looks like he could pass as a football player in Eternia, if they do have football in Eternia. I don't know if they do, probably. But anyway, this is really cool. He got his armors all in place. Nice brown shell. I like that. And yeah, that is really cool. A lot of play potential with these items and to bring in his wave mate and brother. Here he is with Leonardo all armored up. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. This line has got these turtles beefed up and bulky as well as armored. So that is pretty cool. Alright, that's Donatello's armor. Moving on. And for Donatello's weapon accessory, he has this staff mace type thing. Now this is a very large weapon. It measures to be about 5.5 inches long, very reminiscent of what Man-at-Arms would have, except his would come down to a smaller handle right here. But as Donatello is accustomed to having longer weapons, I think this would work fine for him. And it's just cast in a orange plastic. You got a lot of good molded detail in there, a lot of studs or stuff for beating people in the head with, or armor, and it's pretty neat. And he could hold this really well, and he could put this in his back. Pretty sure it goes this way, but you could also put it the other way too if you're so inclined. I'm not sure how you would pull this out. And if you're not interested in this weapon, I would recommend, if you have a NECA Toon Turtle, that bow staff for Donatello, I think that would look really good. Good fit for his hands, and it could fit on his back really well. You could use the Super 7 Donatello's bow staff if you'd like, but that seems a little big for him. I did have trouble getting his hands around it, but it will fit eventually, and it will fit in the back of his sheath. So it's going to be up to you which bow staff you like if you don't want to use this clubbing stick. Alright, moving on. And for comparison, here you have the Grayskull Donatello with the NECA Toon Donatello, the Super 7 Ultimates Donatello, and the NECA Movie Donatello. And as you can see, they are in ascending order of height, and the Grayskull Donatello, being like 20 bucks, does hold his own when it comes to standing in with these masterpiece turtles. And I think that's pretty cool for what it is. And for comparison, here you have the Grayskull Donatello with the cartoon series He-Man and the 40th anniversary He-Man. And this is a tough call. Now, I will always prefer the cartoon aesthetic over anything else, but when I take a look at the size of Donatello, I think the 40th anniversary is still going to be the best comparison of the two. And again, it depends on what you like. If you're looking for a cartoon line, I think the He-Man here is fine. He just looks a little small when compared to Donatello. Even with the armor, I think Donatello should be a little smaller because Ninja Turtles are always smaller than humans. But when it comes to the 40th anniversary He-Man, I think this is pretty good. But I'll leave it up to you, and whatever He-Man you want to have in your collection is your choice. And another comparison, just because we did it with Leonardo, this is how I'll probably display my Donatello. I think the shoulder armor and the forearm armor is a little busy, so is the leg armor. It keeps falling down, and even if you get it right, it's really a lot to deal with. But this is a very good representation of what I think Donatello would look like with the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And just because I want to, here he is with, again, his wave mate Leonardo. We've seen them throughout the video, but this is how I would like to display them without all the bulky armor and with their weapons. So that is pretty neat. Alright, moving on. And taking a quick look at the comic book, we did see this when we reviewed Leonardo. It is the same one, Turtles of Grayskull by the Power of Pizza. And basically it is a little comic book, explains how the turtles get to Eternia, how they fight Mousejaw, and explains how Krang has teamed up with Skeletor, and He-Man has been mutated. Oh, it's terrible. So anyway, that is pretty cool, and if you want to see this comic again, you could purchase the He-Man and the Man-at-Arms. This first issue will come with all the characters in the first wave of figures. Alright, moving on. And this has been the Mattel's Turtles of Grayskull Donatello, the continued mashup between the Masters of the Universe and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And taking a look at Donatello, he was an awesome figure to play with. I love his metallic purple armor, a very nice combination between Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and your standard Masters of the Universe figures with the muscles and the armors and the neat little staff, mace type accessory. Maybe polearm is a good word for it. I don't know. A comic book we've seen before. Look forward to the second issue, which will come when we take a look at Raphael, who will be our next turtle whenever I find him on the shelf. And speaking of, if you are looking for Donatello, he should be on the shelves right now for approximately $20. And if you are looking for him, happy hunting. Alright guys, that is it. That is Turtles of Grayskull Donatello. I hope you enjoyed the review. Have a great night, and until next time, keep playing.